Welcome to Heroes and Droids, your guide to movies and TV shows about superheroes, sci-fi, Disney, and action. From Marvel to DC, Star Wars to Star Trek, from James Bond to the Fast and Furious, we will review theatrical films and streaming delights you care about most. And tonight we're taking a look at She-Hulk, episode 7. Episode 7 of She-Hulk. I'm your host, Doc Rotten, and joining me tonight is the one and only award-winning filmmaker, Christopher G. Moore. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. I'm just tapping into my inner abomination for this wonderful episode.
Oh, we'll just call you Tim Roth. Yes, yes. All right, what we're going to do is we're going to start off giving you our first impression of the show. That will be spoiler-free. Then we're going to get into the discussion about it. We will get into spoilers, and there are a few. And there are a few Easter eggs, and Christopher's got those lined up for us. And, of course, we'll wrap things up with our score, 1 to 5. 1 to 5. And our favorite scene. Yeah?
Yep.
So we hope you enjoy not only this review, but many others that we have on the site. And if you do, hit the like, subscribe, share with
Smash
a friend.
that like, subscribe.
Do it. We are trying to reach a goal of many more subscribers. And only you can help us do that. So
Spread the love.
yeah, we need to get our first 1,000 for Heroes and Droids. So we got to get there.
We could smash it.
We can do it. All right, let's take a look at the card. Bing! The She-Hulk Attorney at Law 2022 from Disney Plus. This is episode 7. It aired September 29th, 2022. It's called The Retreat. Directed by Anu Valia. Written by Zeb Wells. Based on characters created by Stan Lee and John Buscema. The cast includes Tatiana Maslany, Tim Roth, Ginger Gonzaga, Nick Gomez, Justin Eaton, Trevor Salter. Almost said Trevor Slattery. That's funny. Nathan Hurd. That's a different person. Joseph Castillo Midget, Terrence Clow, and John Pericello. How's that? Did I do pretty good on that? Maybe. Possibly. Synopsis is Jen visits Blonsky's wellness retreat, meets new friends, and gets in touch with her inner She-Hulk. It's more character building episode. All right, let's find out what our first impression was. Christopher, why don't you start us off?
Yeah, the one thing I really loved about this episode is the cinematography and a lot of the visual jokes with like stuff like text and things, and just how they sort of do like the montage type stuff in this episode. So yeah, I love the visual look of this episode, and it's got some interesting areas where it goes. And we finally get to sort of see, the Abomination's, health retreat.
Mm-hmm.
Blonsky. Emil Blonsky's health retreat. So, but yeah, I really enjoyed this episode, and it definitely it definitely is. We've been talking about like the arc of like her character, and this is where she's sort of coming to this point of being okay with who she is, and that she's cool, even though she's got this other alter ego that gets all the press and the adoration and that kind of stuff. So yeah, I really enjoyed this episode. It's a fun episode. I mean, it's definitely building to something else that now it makes me sort of wondering who she can trust anymore. The more I think about this episode, especially if the end of it where you find out the thing. So yeah, I enjoyed this. It's a very entertaining episode. With some really, again, a few more weird, D-level characters from the Marvel universe popping up.
Yeah, we don't get as much action, but we do get a little bit. It's more about character building this week. As Jen is basically stuck here because of a weird shenanigans that went on when she was there, and she couldn't leave for a while, and she just participates in the retreat, and it's kind of fun. She interacts with a bunch of new characters and Tim Roth, and Tim Roth is brilliant in this episode. He is so good. He's so funny, and yet in character. It's really an interesting. I'm so glad he's embracing this. It really, really means a lot to me to have him back and doing this. It's he's so much better now in this than he was in the Hulk movie. I think the Incredible Hulk movie, but that's a different story. So I enjoyed this. I enjoyed it much better than last week, but for me, it's also, all these characters that are popping up. We get, of course, other people at the retreat, and each one of them is a little something, something. And for a Marvel zombie like myself, it was fun to see those characters. It was quite a blast. So that's our first impression, right? Let's get into the discussion, and let's don't beat around the bush. Let's get into these Easter eggs, because there's at least 5 that you got to bring up.
Yeah, there's a few. And it wouldn't be an episode if we didn't have a QR code hidden somewhere.
Ah, nice.
And actually, there's the part where she goes on a date and there's a food truck. On the food truck, there's a QR code, which seems to be a common affair, considering we had a food truck back in Miss Marvel. But yeah, if you scan the QR code, it brings up Tales to Astonish number 48, and that's where Ant-Man and the Wasp battle Porcupine. So there you go. Wow. Visually it appears. There you go. You're ahead of the game, my friend. So there we go, which, of course, we have Porcupine. And actually, let's see, I'll skip down to where Porcupine appeared in Tales of Astonish number 48, which was in 1963. The original OG design of Porcupine was a suit with battle armor equipped with like razor-tipped quills that he could shoot out, project at people, be fired at opponents. Had laser beams, concussive bombs, small rockets, tear gas, had a little bit of everything. Supposedly he developed it for the military, but when he realized they didn't appreciate it, he wore it himself and he used it to sort of steal stuff for his own means. So anyway, that's Porcupine who showed up. Also, there we see when Jen is She-Hulk, she's wearing a plum suit that's similar to the same purple suit she wore in the comics.
Getting there. We're getting there.
Yeah, we're getting there. And speaking of the 5, one of the people that shows up is Man-Bull, aka William Torrens. And he was injected with mutagenic serum based on bull enzymes that turned him into half man, half bull. And of course, that appeared in Daredevil number 78 from 1971. Yep. I didn't even ask you to do this, and you're already on top of it, my friend.
Yeah. Of course, I've got 79, but yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, maybe you're right. I got it from the internet. So when we have El Aguila, aka Alejandro Montoya, and he was introduced as a recurring adversary of Power Man and Iron Fist. And of course, he first appeared in Power Man and Iron Fist. Did you get in number 58? Yeah, 58 in 1971, I think it is, or something. And he was
81. Should be 81.
81, maybe. And he was actually a mutant.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
With power to create electric static charges within his body, and he could shoot it through using his weapon. And he also was Zorro was his idol, and so he sort of like became this swashbuckler. But yeah, he was a mutant. So I'm wondering if they're going to tie that into the mutants. That we already sort of knew Miss Marvel is one.
Maybe.
If you paid attention in the background, the name of the retreat is Obamastay, which is a combination of Namaste and Abomination. So he's created his own term around his thing. He's sort of tricking people into believing that he's helping them. At least that's what I think. Let's see. We also had Saracen, I think his name is, and there's actually 2 Saracen in the comics. There's one that was an enemy of the Punisher, and the second was a member of the vampire sect called the Ancient.
Right.
So that could be a possible connection to Blade, Some people, because he said something about his father in this episode, some people think was played his father. Or maybe he's an international mercenary that thinks he's a vampire. So I don't know. They're a little bit shady on this, but they did connect it to a character that was a vampire in the Marvel comics.
Yes. Although he's out in the daylight, so I don't think he's actually a vampire.
Well,
unless
Blade,
he's a daywalker. Unless he's a daywalker.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why people connected him with Blade, possible. Let's see. When she's going through her phone, there's like several names in her phone, which are actually names of people who worked on the show. And of course, one of the other names is Luke Jacobson, that created her suit in a previous episode.
Yes.
If you paid attention to the tow truck, did you see the tow truck?
I saw the tow truck, but I did not pay attention to it. What did it say?
Slot Towing.
Dan Slott.
Which is a nod to Dan Slott's comic run. And I think the guy actually driving, I think his name tag looked like it said Dan too. So anyway, we got a little Easter egg for that. And last but not least, in the end credit art, we get Guila in college with his junior varsity jacket that says Matadorian, and he's doing his little Matador thing with one of the college students who's wearing bull horns. It looks a little bit like Loki's horns. Let's see. We also get Jen meditating with the group, with Porcupine little stink coming off of him, and the other guy that was with the wrecking crew, like looking at him all weird. And there you go, the wrecking crew, which we actually get the one of the other sort of fourth wall breaks is when she breaks and says, "Oh," because even I was like, "Who is that guy?" I even forgot who he was, and they're like, "Oh, he's the guy from the wrecking crew." And then Porcupine getting his suit dry cleaned, which I don't know if that suit is meant to be dry cleaned.
No, but it probably stank, right?
I know it stank, but I'm not sure something that's as dangerous as that suit. I think taking it to a dry cleaner might cause more harm to the people trying to dry clean it. So there's a few of the Easter eggs that I can filed around 10 or so.
Awesome. I want to just point out that the writer, Zeb Wells, is also currently writing Amazing Spider-Man with John Romita Jr. doing the art. Started in April 2022. Of course, he's been working for Marvel for quite some time, doing all kinds of, from New Mutants to Venom to Heroes for Hire, which may sound familiar. And he's also been involved with Robot Chicken.
Oh,
right. Cool. And he's married to Heidi Gardner, who is a cast member of Saturday Night Live. So go
wow.
Zeb. Go Zeb. I just, I'm a Marvel zombie. So as soon as I saw Zeb Wells, I was like, yes, nice. I know that name. So let's get into this. Tim Roth steals the show.
Well, he's definitely it's good to sort of see this side of his character, which was much more sort of crazy and out there, or not crazy. He was just more methodical and and this one he's more laid back. Although I will say I'm starting to wonder if he might be behind some of the trolling that's happening. Because somebody had pointed out there's I guess one of the trailers for the series kind of shows him in a building with a bunch of guys whooping and hollering for him. So so I don't know, but I think it is kind of fun seeing him, this guy who's like, previously we saw him like fighting the Hulk.
Yeah, because he
in what was it, Brooklyn or whatever. And now here he's sort of like laid back and like, oh yeah, I was trying to get a chicken and it caused my thing to go off. It's like, starting to wonder. But you could sort of see him, he's like, throwing out advice and trying to help these people. So yeah, I think he's having a lot of fun playing this sort of like different version of that character. It's good to have these characters we can see different sides to.
Very aloof. I think there's something going on. He's hiding it. Because I don't buy the chicken bit, and of course that the show starts with the what would the character be called? He basically has to go and check on the on the ankle
The
bracelet,
ankle bracelet, yeah.
and then calls Jennifer Walters to come with him because, well, he wants the She-Hulk up by his side just in case.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
she could Green Giant.
Yes, Green Giant. Yes.
Although somebody pointed this out online, it is kind of interesting that the one guy with the Gherkin coup got her to delete her evidence of that guy contacting her.
Mm.
So then that disconnects any evidence that she has that the guy that went on a date with her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they do have the stinger with, because they show that she hooks up with the one guy from the wedding, and then he ghosts her, right? So
Yes.
a good portion of the beginning of it is her checking her phone, and that's a running gag for quite a bit, and it's funny. But then we find out the opposite side, his story. What do you think of that? I mean, it kind of...
I kind of figured that he, I hate to say it, but he seemed a little too nice and a little too, he seemed to know all the right things to say. But actually, if you pay attention to her phone when he texts her, he already knows where she lives.
Mm-hmm.
How did he already know where she lives?
But
So yeah. So it is, but at the same time, I also feel kind of bad because I want her to find love, and this guy just played her like a fool, and it's like, oh God.
Let's say a fiddle.
Played her like a fiddle. Yeah, played her like a fiddle, like a big green fiddle. It's kind of sad to see that. So I think it's going to be interesting to see once the green crap hits the fan, as to what's going to happen after this. But yeah, it's kind of sad. It's kind of sad. Although I will say, I know several friends, female friends, that when she comes to that realization, that whole moment and stuff, she talks about things, and a lot of them could relate. Just sort of like when I think anybody, I think I could relate too, how some people, you worried about them seeing that one side of yourself and not liking you for that. Like my mom always joked when I would go on, like if I went on a date, it's like, make sure you don't put your Star Wars stuff out.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
And it's like, well, if they can't accept that, they can't accept me. So I can sort of understand that. But yeah, I think regardless of the humor, they had a real heart to this episode when it came to that sort of realization that she has, that she is okay. She should be okay with who she is.
Yeah. And I like the fact that, one of the things that attracted her to him was he liked her. He liked Jennifer Walters, not the She-Hulk. And matter of fact, he didn't even really ask about the She-Hulk, which should have been
it should have been a green flag, a green flag, a red flag.
It should have raised some alarms. I guess she's blinded by love, but it's going to make her very angry. Are we going to like her when she's angry?
I think if she, at some point, if she catches up with him, I think he's not going to.
Do we still think he's part of the Wrecking Crew?
The other guy?
Yeah. Is he the one that had the mask on? The Thunderball?
No, he didn't have a mask on. I think he had the helmet or something. But well, that's what I'm saying. I'm wondering if he's still part of it. You know what I mean? And I'm wondering if Emil might be a part of it too.
You think he's a part of it?
I'm wondering if he might be the Hulk King. Because it's almost like on purpose that he was at this place where you couldn't use your phone and couldn't do all these different things. I don't know. Something about it seems very suspicious.
It does. Well, we think that Todd's involved, right?
Well, I think Todd is, yeah. So, but it makes me wonder who the Hulk King is. Who's that's going to be? So, but I mean, there have been some little tidbits people have looked at when it comes to the upcoming like trailers for the season that they've dissected. I won't get into, but It's going to be interesting to see where it goes. Because I
It
think
is,
because
indeed.
when like her assistant like pointed out like that she's nominated for like female of the year, female lawyer of the year, and one of one of the trailer had a snippet of her like arriving at that place. So, but they also showed the guys with the sonic weapons there too.
Uh-oh. Well, we only have 2 episodes left. So,
oh wow,
on October 6th and October 13th. So.
Well, I would assume we're sort of leading up to who this Hulk King is, right?
Yep, I think that's going to be the reveal, right?
Who do you think is the Hulk King?
I think it's going to be the leader.
You think the leader's going to pop up at the very end?
I think it is, yep.
Well, that was his thing, right? He wanted was that his thing in the comics where he wanted to like inject other people with it?
Yeah, he's partially responsible for multiple Hulks. There's other people that are responsible for multiple
Hulks. Wait a minute. Do you think the Kingpin might be part of this too?
No. It's possible, but no.
He could use that and use them as bodyguards for himself. Some people think he might have actually taken the Captain America serum or something. That's why that was why he was so like muscular.
Yep. I think there's something up with that. I think he's enhanced from in this universe. Speaking of Kingpin, I believe we're going to get our Daredevil cameo in the next. Well, I think
it's going to be 1 of 2 episodes.
It's going to be 1 of 2 episodes. I think it's this week, but we'll find out for sure here soon. All right, well, let's go ahead, sir, and wrap this up. Let's give our final score, 1 to 5, and our favorite scene. Why don't you start us off?
I actually really like this episode, mainly because of the visual flair of it. This kind of reminded me when we were watching Miss Marvel, a lot of the visual things they did in the show. And this brought back a lot of that sort of like fun of when because that whole scene where we're going through and that I'll say that's probably my favorite scene is when they're going through the apartment and she shows up in different parts of it.
Oh yeah, that was so cool.
The visual flair of it, of her going through her day and just seeing different versions of her at different times. I just thought that was visually so great, And of course, there's other things with like when she's trying to get reception and you see how many bars she has no reception, but yeah, I think that's my favorite scene. But I'll give this me, I love good visual flair, so I'm gonna give it a 4.25 because I really like the visual flair of this episode. I kind of wish they did more of this visual kind of stuff in the episodes in general, because this definitely felt like an episode that was directed by a different person. So, but yeah, I'll give it a 4.25, and my favorite scene's that scene, which sort of carried on later on with like the montage stuff too. So, but anyway, that's probably my favorite scene.
Yeah, I like it when they do things like that to kind of show a breadth of time, right? And it's an interesting way to do it. It's good stuff. I enjoyed this quite a bit. One, Emil Blonsky is becoming my favorite supporting character. I really like what Tim Roth is doing. I want to see more of him. I hope he has a future in the MCU somewhere doing things.
Where's his women at, by the way?
I don't know. They're out there somewhere, chasing chickens. And then to introduce all these Z-grade villains was so much fun. And we saw a snippet of it in the trailers, and we're like, oh, who is that? What is that? And we were trying to figure out who they were because they were so fast. But who they ended up being was, I don't know. To me, it was like all these minor little characters that come out and you go like, what the heck is that all about? But yet they show up over time. Mambo would show up over and over. Well, all of them would. Porcupine would team up with a character called Eel. Go for it. And then, we won't go into that anyway. So that was awesome. So I'll give it a 4. I'm giving it a 4. Yeah. And my favorite scene is going to be when she walks into the actual retreat, and all the all our guest stars, if you will, are sitting around in a circle, and they make her join, and it ends with Porcupine taking his mask off, and it's all stinky, and it's just the whole dialogue, that the banter back and forth, even when El Aguirre shoots his lightning bolt out of his saber. It was all awesome. It was a joy for a Marvel zombie like me.
Nice.
All right, there you go. That's our review for She-Hulk episode 7. 2 more episodes left. We hope you are enjoying this coverage. Also, check out our coverage of Andor, the Star Wars series on Disney Plus as well. We're enjoying that quite a bit. Yes, Christopher?
Oh, it's a different Star Wars, that's for sure.
And we'll be covering a few other things here in October. Definitely going to be doing Black Adam toward the end of the month when that comes out, with The Rock, Dwayne Johnson in the title role. So we'll see how that plays out. And then
Werewolf by Night.
Werewolf by Night. We got Black Panther. The trailer dropped today as we're recording, and the first full trailer, which will be probably the only full trailer.
First one that actually reveals Shuri as the new Black Panther.
Yes, and a lot more of Namor flying around with those little ankle wings. Kind of cool. I guess we'll keep going. The year will end with Glass Onion and Avatar. We'll have fun.
Well, I'm excited about Glass Onion.
Yeah.
I don't know about the Avatar. But...
Don't know about Avatar. All right. Well, let's end on that. Christopher, thank you for joining me.
It's always fun.
Let's say good night.
Good night.